Welcome to Bloodyflixx. I'm your host Pete.
And I'm Kyle, and we talk about all things bloody.
Today we're comparing our top 10
Final girls.
Alright, it's ladies who survive in the horror movie genre franchise. And we're going to compare my top 10
Against my top 10.
See who has the best as always. Alright, first, any honorable mentions?
And I'm going to get some hate for this one, but my honorable mention is Sidney Prescott from Scream. So I can already hear it in the comments below about this. So let's get on to it.
My honorable mention is Shawnee Vision Aaron from You're Next is my honorable mention. So let's get going. So you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Alright, number 10?
So number 10 on my list is Maddie from Hush. If you've seen the movie, she was born deaf, and there's a killer outside, and she can't hear. And the reason why she's on my list is she doesn't let her handicap stop her from surviving the night against the killer.
That's right, young kids. Never let anything keep you down, especially if a killer's trying to kill you. All right, number 10 on my list is Adrienne King from Friday the 13th, the first one. She survives against Jason Voorhees' mama and going against a pissed off mother, and surviving, as we all know with the holidays coming up, is a good thing.
It's too bad she didn't survive against Jason, though.
Well, that's a different movie, different story,
Yep.
but she's number 10 on the list.
All right, number 9 on my list is Clear Rivers from the Final Destination movies, Part 1 and Part 2.
I forgot about those movies.
Reason why she makes my list is, everyone dies, but obviously she didn't want to die yet, so she fights death itself to make it through the first movie, and unfortunately, she doesn't make it to the second one.
Well, I don't know if she fights because she puts herself in a padded room for the second one, right?
Yes.
So, I guess that's one way to not be harmed. So, unless the pads fall off and suffocate you, I don't know. I was waiting for something when I first saw the second one, but... Alright, number 9 on my list is Amy Steele from Friday the 13th Part 2. Most people's favorite survival girl of all time, especially in the Friday the 13th franchise. I know you're a big fan of her. Any woman that could put on Jason Voorhees' mom's dirty, nasty, scuzzy, gross, flea-infested clothes to survive deserves to be in the top 10 for sure. Or whatever else was in those clothes. Alright.
Alright, number 8 on my list is Mary Beth Dunstan, played by Daniel Harris in the Hatchet movies. Actually, in the first movie, she was played by a different actress.
Well, Daniel Harris, can't go wrong with her anyway. Phenomenal actress, but...
Well, the reason why she's on my top 10 list is because she takes on Victor Crowley, the local swamp legend himself, played by Kane Hodder. And, if you can survive against Kane Hodder, you must be really good at being a final girl.
See, Kyle teases me for having crushes and having a lot of autographs by some of the Scream Queens. He's got a man crush on Kane Hodder.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't judge. In front of you.
Okay.
Alright, anyway. We are number 8.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Always lose my place, as always. Alright. Number 8 is Heather Langenkamp, Friday the 13th.
No.
Wrong movie. Let's rewind. Heather Langenkamp from Nightmare on Elm Street. Alright, Nightmare on Elm Street. That movie was the one movie that scared the crap out of me and gave me nightmares. That my movie that scared me the most. But she survived 1, dies in 3, puts up a good fight, but she comes back in a New Nightmare to kick butt because the first 2 are just movies and the New Nightmare is real life. So she took on Freddy Krueger and survived, so therefore she's number 8 on my list.
So number 7 on my list is Mia from Evil Dead 2013, the remake, or prequel, or sequel, however you want to call it.
Flip a coin.
Yeah. Reason why she makes my list is because at the beginning of the movie, she has a drug problem and they go to the cabin to, kind of help her lean off the drugs, and she becomes possessed, so she's the villain of the movie, and then she redeems herself and becomes the badass like Ash in, the original Evil Dead, and that's why she's on my list.
Good one, good one, good one. I was actually thinking about putting her on this, but she didn't quite make it. All right, number 7, Ashley Lawrence from the Hellraiser series, 1 and 2. I debated with you why her or Heather, and you helped me determine that, of course, Ashley has actually survived both movies where Heather had died in the second one. She's badass. Not only do you take on Pinhead, the Cenobites, the second one she goes into hell in the labyrinth, but at the end of the second one, they put on her dead former stepmother's gross, bloody body to make out with a certified badass demon. That's pretty impressive. I would never do it. But that's pretty badass. So
Yeah. All right, number 6 on my list is Nancy from the Nightmare franchise. You know, like you explained, you know, real life and movies, she survived, you know, in the real life, but in the movie she died. So that makes her a good final girl for me on my list.
Well, I just thought about it. If the New Nightmare was real life, she's probably the only woman who has survived in real life
Against Freddy.
against any supernaturals.
Yeah, that's true.
So, just a thought. All right. Number 6, Marilyn Burns from the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's laughing because as much as she screams in that movie, not only in that movie is she just absolutely beautiful, but the hell she went through in the house, being tortured, having a guy pretty much, you know you're going to die, trying to bash your head in. Thank God Grandpa was old and could have used a hammer, otherwise she might be toast. But then she just literally jumps out a window, heads out the road, and she's gone. But her character as a survival woman is badass. I know the scream is a little much.
We all wish Grandpa would have connected with that hammer.
I was like, just hit her, Grandpa. Just hit her. So, could do luck, but she's pretty badass. So,
All right. So number 5 on my list is Kirsty Cotton from Hellraiser, played by Ashley Lawrence. The reason why she makes my top 10 list is because, why not? She takes on demons in hell.
why not?
Yeah. I mean, that's badass.
Yeah, I don't want to face the Cenobites at all.
Yeah.
Pretty badass.
Or even Leviathan himself. I'm going to assume that's the devil and the Hellraiser.
Almost all the characters are pretty badass, except for the Cenobites. The 3, they suck. Oops, did I say that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Your MTV Cenobites.
Right?
Yep.
All right. Number 6.
No, number 5.
Okay, number 5. All right. Shawnee Smith from Saw 2. She played Amanda. She is the only survivor that was able to escape from, well, at least in the first movies from Saw. And she's pretty badass. Street Girl. The movie wasn't as good because the first one was so different and dynamic and unique. I mean, you saw the first one, you're like, whoa, but holy crap, what's this movie? And the second came out, and you're like, like most second movies, they're kind of like, okay. But as a survival woman, she was pretty badass in that movie, so she makes my list at number 5.
And then she becomes Jigsaw's protege.
Yes, she does.
All right. So number 4 on my list is Jenny from Friday the 13th Part 2. And she's actually my number 1 final girl in the Friday the 13th franchise. The reason why she made my top 10 list is because she used that child psychology against Jason and put on his dead mother's sweater and convinced him that she was his mother and allowed him to, become weak and tricked him. And actually in real life, Amy Steele is a real child psychiatrist.
Yeah, that's kind of... Well, we got her autograph.
Yep.
And she was cool. She was nice. But she had that look like, she's trying to figure it out. So, there's a lot to figure out in my head. All right. Number 3. All right, number 4. Number 4, one of Kyle's all-time favorites, Nev Campbell. Not.
We're going to save that for a later video.
Different movie, all right. But anyway, Nev Campbell is number 4 on my list. Ghostface isn't a legit horror killer like Michael Myers and the others. That's a different video. But the fact that Ghostface was different killers, she did survive, whether you like it or not, against 2 in the first one. One in the, I mean, she survived against at least 5 different killers. That's pretty impressive, no matter whether the killers are idiots or not that good or not, or a novice. But the fact that she survived against 5 killers, that's a lot. So that's why she is number 4 on my list.
All right, number 3 on my list is Laurie Strode from the Halloween franchise. And to a lot of people, she's probably number 1 on their list, but on mine, she's number 3. And the reason why she made my list is because she's taking on Michael Myers, the Shape himself, again, in 3 different timelines. 2 of them she's lived in, and 1 she died, including Rob Zombie's Halloween's. So that's why she makes my list.
Yeah, she's pretty badass. And her character evolves, too. I mean, she gets badass. She had to learn to become badass. She wasn't just a badass, she had to learn. She starts a naive girl, and then, I'm telling you, they need to make a movie where she splits like that Spider-Man movie that just came out, where they have all the different Spider-Mans help out, and then all the different Lauries could help out and take on Michael Myers, and then they could all beat him down. And I think Michael Myers hasn't been in space yet, like Jason or Pinhead, so...
We'll pitch that to Blumhouse. Maybe they'll send us some money our way.
Yeah, so Michael Myers goes to space, fights all the different Lauries. Badass. And then the cast with Sharknado comes in from the space, was that 3 or 4, whatever space one was. They help out. Hey, cool movie. Use your noggin. Alright. Alright, where are we at? Number 3?
Yep.
Number 3 is Mila Jovovich from Resident Evil movies. She is sexy, badass, and I would not want to take her on. If you could survive that many zombies in the movies, the franchise, in that apocalypse, you're pretty badass. Like you said before, she has powers, but they were embedded in her. But she was badass before she had the powers. The T-virus to help out, but I mean, she's like, hey, little psychic lady, I'm gonna kill you. I mean, she's pretty badass. So number 3 on my list.
All right, number 2 on my list is Erin from You're Next. I've only seen this movie a couple times, and the fact that she's a survivalist and she was taught that as a child, and then during the home invasion she puts that to good use, and she totally wrecks the guys that break into the house, and they're there to kill everybody, literally. And that's why she makes my list, is because she's a total badass.
Having someone who's trained in actually something, like being a survivalist, and they actually use it in the movie, is pretty cool, because you never get that. Unlike the remake of House on the Left, where the parents are just normal mom and dad, but then they become badass killers. It's kind of nice to have someone who could actually do the job, complete the job. So, would you have her as a girl next door?
Yes, I would, because if I needed some help, I'd just go next door and ask her for help.
Good point. All right. Where are we at? Number 2?
Yep.
Number 2 on my list is Sigourney Weaver from Aliens. Good old Ripley. I almost didn't put her on my list. I sat here with missing someone in my top 10, staring at my autographs, wondering who am I missing. And then you're like, why don't you have Ripley? I'm like, that's who I was missing. So, and not only is she badass, Aliens 1979, I think it was. So from then on to Aliens, which is just a badass movie. When you're a younger kid watching that movie, with Bill Paxton and the others from the Terminator movies, awesome movie. So she's number 2 on my list.
And she's actually number 1 on my list, and yeah, basically what you said, she is a badass, taking on them xenomorphs, and especially in Aliens, when she uses the power or loader to take down the Queen Alien.
Such a good scene.
Oh yeah, such a good scene. And unfortunately, after that, the movies kind of went downhill, but she's still a badass in them.
She's still a badass. Even the movies weren't that good. She's still a badass. I did freak out though when they shaved her head in the 3rd one.
Well, there was a reason.
But I was a lot younger then too, so I was like, oh man, they made her look a ball. What the heck? But I mean, then you get older, I'm like, oh yeah, there's life, duh.
Yeah.
But when you're a kid, it's different. So, all right, number 1 on my list, it's Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween movies. Laurie Strode. She is my number 1. A lot of others have her number 1. She's probably the original Scream Queen. Yes, there was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was other movies, but Halloween started it all, the franchise of the killers. They were the pretty much first for the franchise. And she is 3 different timelines, but I like how she evolved. She's such a badass. I mean, she went from the sweetest girl, had some luck, just willed her way out of the first one to where now now I don't want to mess with her. You put her and you put Laurie Strode now with Ripley, man, they come flying into some blue, like, Avatar-looking things and start kicking some butt, and I wouldn't mess with them.
I wouldn't either.
And besides, you can't mess with them. This is a badass. And besides, if you were actually winning a fight against Sigourney Weaver, would you win?
Probably not.
Why?
I don't know, right? Because
she's gonna make a call to who? The Ghostbusters.
Oh.
She's got backup. Didn't think of that, did ya? All right. Until next time.
stay bloody.